In this morning's Business Insight, a local business owner, Chris Ostich, is one of 4 entrepreneurs who testified before the U.S. House Small Business Committee last week on National Entrepreneurs Day. Ostich is co-founder and marketing VP of Listener, a 3-year-old Cincinnati startup that uses audio to connect devices. The Small Business Committee is chaired by Congressman Steve Chabot. It spotlighted the contributions of entrepreneurs to America's economy, and members heard from a diverse panel on how they were able to achieve the American dream while creating jobs and spurring economic growth in the process. We thought that was a story worth telling locally, so we invited Chris to join Business Courier editor Rob Dahmeyer in the studio. Rob and Chris.
Thank you very much, Peg. Thanks for being here, Chris.
Happy to be here.
It is an important story, and what's maybe even more important to ask is how important was it to even have this event in D.C.?
Well, I think that it was a huge honor to be considered one of the entrepreneurs that was brought in, but you know, there was this legislation that made it National Entrepreneurs Day,
right,
the 3rd Tuesday of November. That's all fine and good, but what the real opportunity was for us as entrepreneurs to be able to come in and talk to officials about how government can help us as entrepreneurs or stay out of our way.
Yes, so that's a good question. I mean, government getting involved in anything isn't exactly a bipartisan attitude. Is
Sure.
that fair to say? But on this one, maybe not so much. I mean, talk a little bit about how your companies have been impacted by government.
Sure. You know, I can say I'm a walking example of why a program like the Ohio Third Frontier works. Bipartisan support started in 2002. It's a $2 billion initiative to really change the narrative of Ohio's economy. And you know, I have 2 companies now that have been funded through Third Frontier initiatives and Cincy Tech. We collectively in those companies employ 70 people, and we've raised $20 million of venture capital in those companies. So without the Third Frontier leading those early stage investments, I wouldn't be sitting here today.
And Third Frontier funding is never a given. It's not a slam dunk, even
Absolutely.
though it has really redefined. I mean, it was started by a Republican, Governor Taft, but it really isn't something that just, you know, is passed every year like that.
Absolutely, yeah, it comes up again, I believe, this year. So
yeah. So now you were one of 4 people. First of all, how'd that feel? Being in D.C. with 4 people in front of Congress.
I was a little confused at first, kind of like, you have the right guy.
Right.
When they called me initially.
Looking for Hillary Clinton, maybe? That's right.
But, you know, when I knew Chairman Chabot was going to be chairing the committee, and, you know, a Cincinnati guy himself, and you know, when they called initially, the first thing they said is, Chris, you know, we look at Cincinnati in D.C. as a model for how to build a startup ecosystem in, you know, emerging cities around the country. That in itself for me was really cool to hear, considering that in 2006 that narrative wasn't there.
Let me stop you for a second. Why? What did they see in Cincinnati that makes them feel that way?
Well, you know, I would argue, like, try to find another city that in the last 7 to 10 years has made as much progress as we have. Yeah. Both from the number of companies that have been created, the jobs that have been established, the following. Just to give you a couple of numbers, Cincy Tech alone, 700 jobs, $500 million of follow-on capital, $160 million in revenue, and this is 7 years we're talking, since 2006 or 7 or 8 when they started investing money into companies. So right. There are not many ecosystems that have emerged as fast as this one has.
Well, congratulations for being there, and I think it's really important. Every time, you know, it's easy for us in Cincinnati to sort of forget how we're doing nationally.
I agree completely.
So it's wonderful to hear sort of a national perspective from somebody who's right here in Cincinnati.
Absolutely.
The Business Courier has done a lot with Chris's companies. I have a strange feeling we'll be doing more. So thanks very much for being here.
Absolutely, pleasure.